Hi all, this is Nathan. So in today's session, I will discuss about AWS VPC, what is virtual private cloud in AWS. Okay, so it is a service in AWS which lets you provision a logically isolated of AWS cloud where you can launch AWS resources in a virtual network that you define. So you can define your network. Okay, so you can define your own choice. You have complete control over your virtual networking environment, including selection of your own IP address range. So you can choose your own IP address range, okay, and you can create your own subnets like public subnet or private subnet. You can configure the routing tables. So it consists of internet gateway, subnets, routing table, network access control, and security group. So you have complete control on these services. Okay, so you can modify any parameter in these services. Okay, so let's discuss some VPC features and benefits. So first is launching the instances in your own choice subnet. Okay, so as I told you in my last slide, you can launch your instance in your own choice subnet, or you can say CIDR. Okay, so you can define your own IP address. Okay, so in your environment you may have one private subnet and one public subnet. Okay, so it is your choice where you want to launch your instance. So you can launch your instance in private subnet or public subnet. So I will discuss more in detail what is public subnet and what is private subnet. So third is a creation of internet gateway and attach it to VPC and enable easy to access to internet. So we can create our own internet gateway. Okay, so it means you have full control on creation of internet gateway. Okay, so you can create your own internet gateway and attach it to VPC, so that instances which are part of that subnet, okay, will be able to access the internet. Okay, so the we can say that the instances which are having route to internet gateway will be able to access the internet. So those EC2 servers will be exposed to the internet. Okay, so I will discuss each and everything in more detail, theoretically as well as practically. So I will do a quick demo on VPC. I will launch one VPC, then subnets. So I will discuss everything in this session. Okay. Third is configure route table between subnets. So you have full control on routing table. So you can route uh, you can define the routes in your routing table so that EC2 instance in one subnet are directed to internet gateway, and EC2 instance in some other subnet are not directed to internet gateway. So you have full control on your routing table as well. Okay. Next is about security control using security group and NACLS. So this is all about firewall. So we can control egress and ingress traffic, which is coming, which is incoming and outgoing traffic from and to your EC2 instances. Okay, so security group is basically instance level, and NACLS, that is network access control list. It is applied to your subnet. Okay, so we can control all the instances within a subnet through NACLS. Okay, so I will again, I will discuss about security group and NACLS, and I will show you a comparison between both in later in my session. So there is a slide, complete slide on that. So I will discuss these terms in more detail. Next is about VPC subnet, private and public. So let's discuss what is a public subnet and what is a private subnet. Okay. So you can easily customize the network configuration for your Amazon virtual private cloud. For an example, you can create public facing subnets for your web servers that has access to the internet and place your backend servers such as database or application servers in a private facing subnet with no internet access. So in your environment, you may have some servers which you want publicly exposed. Okay, so you like your web server. Okay, So what you will do, you will create two subnets. One will be public and second will be private. So you will put the servers like web server, which you can in the internet, or you can say out world, you can put those instances behind your public subnet, and other instances like your database or application servers behind your private subnet. Okay, so that they will not be able to access internet and their IPs are not exposed to the internet. So subnet, yeah, this is the important thing. Okay, subnet cannot span multiple availability zone. Okay, a subnet cannot span across multiple availability zones. So one subnet, one availability zone. Okay, so when you will create subnet, you have to choose one availability zone. So you cannot have one subnet which is across availability zone. Okay, so this is the important thing which you should remember always. You can leverage multiple layer of security, security groups, network ACLs, all to help control access to EC2 instances in each subnet. Security groups are stateful and NACLs are stateless. So you can have multiple layer of security. As I told you earlier, group to control request traffic from and to your instances, and can span across availability zone. NACLs, and you will use NACLs. NACLs are used to control not span across the availability zone. So one NACL, one availability zone. So I will show you a quick picture here. This is VPC diagram and security layers. Let me show you that way. So this is we were discussing VPC diagram and security layers. So if you see this picture, have one VPC which is in CIDR range 10.0.0.0/16. I do have two subnets, subnet 1 and subnet 2. Subnet 1 is having CIDR 10.0.0.0/24, and this is 10.0.1.0/24. So you can see here, right? One security group for two instances. Okay, and group for one security group for each instance in other subnet. Okay, so in total we do have three security group. Okay, and on top of this we have NACL. Okay, that is network access control list. As I told you earlier, NACL, one NACL, one subnet. Okay, so we cannot, NACL cannot span across subnets, or you can say across availability zone. So one NACL, one subnet, and one availability zone. Okay. However, security group can span across the availability zone. Okay, so you can have same security group which is applied to all the instances, no matter if subnet is different. Okay, so no matter your instance is part of private subnet or it is part of public subnet. Okay, that's all depend upon your requirement, how you have configured. Next is on top of your network ACLs, you have routing tables. So here you will define your routes. So you may have some of your EC2 instances which you want to be configured to route to internet, or you may be having some other instances or other subnet which you don't want to expose to internet. So you will control those things through your routing table. Okay. Next, private and public subnets. So if you see this figure, we have one VPC, again two subnets, public subnet and private subnet. Okay, so in public subnet we do have some web servers. Okay, so the web servers, why we are putting web servers? Because we always want our web server to be exposed internet. Okay, and we do have some database servers in our private subnet because we never want our our database servers to be publicly exposed. Okay, so see the routing table here. So this is the internet gateway and this is the router. Okay, so see the routing table, so you will get a clear picture how we have configured the routes. Public subnet routes, there is one route which is for local instances launched in the to each other. That is the first rule, first route. Okay. Second route is basically what? Every instance in my public subnet should be routed to internet gateway. Okay. So to enable access for internet for every instance which was launched in my public subnet, I have to redirect the traffic to internet gateway. Okay, so I have to direct the traffic to internet gateway so that this in my public subnet, the internet. This is how I have configured routes for my which were launched in my. Okay, let's talk about private subnet. Private subnet. I have a routing table. This is my main routing table. There is no any route to internet gateway. Default, the route is only enabled just to communicate to make the communication enabled within the same subnet. Okay, so that instances can communicate to each other. Okay, so this is the rule which you have to add explicitly. So this is the main routing table. And they have created one custom routing table and added this rule as instances can be exposed to the internet. This is my private subnet, and in my private subnet, I do have some database servers. This is the only route. So, you know, my database servers. But here is one issue basically. So if you will log in into your database server, first of all, you have to log in into your database server through your public subnet, through your instances which are launched in your public subnet. Because we do not have any public server, public IP for my servers which are launched in my public subnet, private subnet. So, okay, okay, are you with me? Huh. So let me reiterate. So what I'm saying. So see, we have public IP and private IP both for my servers which are launched in my public subnet. Okay, so can you see here? This is my elastic IP, or you can say, my uh, public IP address. Okay, and these are my private IP address. Okay, I can log in into my web servers through my public address, public IP address. Okay, once I logged in into my web server through SSH, then I can do SSH to my database servers using their private IP address, because we do not have any public IP assigned for my database servers. So you cannot SSH into your database server directly. So you have to come through servers which are part of your. I hope this clears now. Okay. So there is a challenge here. Like if you will log in into your database server and you are not even able to install any package. Okay, so if you will do yum install MySQL, and it says that you cannot access internet because it is not routed to internet gateway, so you will not be able to install any package. So it will, right? So we always want to install package, or to download some binaries from internet from my. So what you will do, you will show you the next picture. What you will do, you will launch one NAT instance or NAT gateway. Okay, so in this figure, what I have done, I have launched one NAT gateway in my public subnet, and I have assigned a public IP address to this NAT gateway or NAT instance. So you can use both. Okay, you can use either NAT instance or your NAT gateway. So in my practical demo, what I will do, I will launch a NAT instance, and then I will show you the demo, and after that I will terminate that NAT instance and will you know launch a NAT gateway. Will show you how it is different. Okay, so in this figure they have launched one NAT gateway in your public subnet, and now see the change in the routing table. So instances in your private subnet, okay, directing the traffic to NAT gateway ID. Okay, so what they are doing, they are directing the traffic to NAT gateway, and NAT gateway is directing the traffic to your internet gateway. So this way we are not exposing the IP address of our database servers to internet, and still database servers will be able to install the packages. Okay, so route is through NAT gateway, and NAT gateway was launched in my public subnet. Okay, I hope it is clear now. So let's go to next slide. Default VPC. So if you will create an Amazon account and if you log in into Amazon console, then you need not to create any VPC to start with and something like that, because it is Amazon will always make it user friendly. Okay, so they will do what they will create one default VPC for your account so that you can quickly launch instances in the VPC. So you need not to take any botheration about creating the VPC, creating the subnet. So you need not to understand those concepts initially. Okay, so it will be easier for a user to just go into a EC2 console and launch EC2 instance and start working. Okay, so all subnets are routed to the internet gateway. So if you see the default VPC of Amazon, that is all on the subnets which are launched under VPC are routed to the internet gateway. So if you launch any instance, you should be able to see both get IP address. And each instance will get public address and private address. You should be able to access internet restriction initially. Okay, and it is never recommended to delete the default VPC. If you delete it, then you have to contact with Amazon. Okay, so you should not delete the default VPC, otherwise to AWS or Amazon to get it back. Next is about VPC connection. So if we do have two or more VPC, connect those VPCs. One of VPC is called VPC peering. One VPC to other VPCs, it is always in star topology. Okay, one central VPC with four others, or you can say two others. Okay, no transitive peering. So there is no transitive allowed in VPC connection. You can peer VPC in one account with VPC in other account. Okay, that is a great feature about VPC. You can peer one VPC which is in one account. You may have some other VPCs which are created in other accounts, so you can peer those so that instances will behave like they are. Okay, all the instances will be able to communicate to each other. IP range will be different. One may be in the range 172 and second may be in the range 10 dot series. So they will be able to communicate to each other. This is star topology. As I said earlier, like if you have three VPC, VPC A, VPC B, VPC C, no transitive. Okay, there is no transitive connection allowed. So if you have connected or paired your VPC like this, VPC A is connected to VPC B, and VPC A is connected to VPC A is connected to VPC C. Then you know this is the connection which we have created, but that doesn't mean VPC B can communicate to VPC C directly. No. Okay. So you have to create a new connection there. Okay, so you have to pair these two VPC to enable the communication between VPC B and VPC C. So there is no transitive connection allowed. Okay, I hope you understand this. Next is about hardware VPN. What is hardware VPN? You can always, you can always create a hardware VPN connection between your corporate data center and your VPC and leverage the AWS cloud as an extension to your corporate data center. Okay, so this is the hardware VPN which you can uh, connect. You can, this is the connection which is between your corporate data center and your VPC. Okay. Next is demo. So I will go to my Amazon console and will show you a quick demo. Like I will launch a new VPC, then I will create some subnets, private subnet and public subnet. I will create one internet gateway. I will create some routing tables and associate my subnets with the routing table. And after that, I will launch some EC2 instances, some in private and public subnet, and will test if EC2 in private subnet can access the internet. Okay. Then what I will do, I will launch one NAT instance and update the routing table to make EC2 instance in my private subnet accessible to the internet. Then finally, I will replace this NAT instance with my NAT gateway. Okay. So nowadays, people are not using NAT instance. Okay, they are using NAT gateway because there are so many reasons for behind that. Okay, NAT instance is, what, there is a customized AMI in community AMI. If you'll go in community AMI and search for NAT, then you should be able to see NAT AMI, and you can launch one NAT instance from there. Okay, and you can use that. But challenge is that, like, if your NAT instance goes down, then you will lose connectivity, right? You will lose internet connectivity from your EC2 instances in your private subnet. There is no any high availability. Okay, although you can have high availability, what you can do, you can create some auto scaling groups. Okay, and launch your EC2 instance upon termination of one. So like that, you can set up some high availability using that instance. Again, challenge comes when you have to patch your instance. So it is, it is only you who has to maintain this NAT instance always. Okay, you have to patch it, you have to maintain it. So if you have NAT gateway, so it is not your responsibility. It is Amazon responsibility. Okay, and it is highly resilient. So it is always recommended to use NAT gateway instead of NAT instance. Okay, so these are the difference which I was talking about: security group and NACLS. Okay, so security group operates at instance level, as I told you earlier, and it operates at subnet level. And security group always supports allow rules only. Okay, so you can just say this is the port which I want to open, this is the port which I want to open. Okay, but in case of network, by default, in security group, by default all ports are disabled, so there is nothing which is enabled. So you can explicitly say that these are the ports which I want to open. In case of network ACL, it supports all allow rules and deny rules. Okay, so in security group, you cannot say that this is the port which I don't want to allow. But in case of network ACL, I can say this is the port which I don't want to allow. So you can always have allow rules or deny rules. Okay, security group is stateful. So like if you will create a rule for port number 80, and this is suppose incoming rule, so by default it will be open for outgoing traffic. So you need not to go to outgoing rule and create a rule for HTTP port 80 to open it. No. So if you will create a rule for incoming, then it will be open for outgoing always. Okay, it is stateful. Okay. Network ACL is stateless. So if you are going to open some port, let's suppose 80, then you have to open it both sides. You have to open it in incoming traffic and outgoing traffic. Okay, depend upon your request, or depend upon your requirements. Sorry. Okay, so if you want your instances, uh, if you want to open 84 for just incoming traffic, so you can do that. And if you want 84 for outgoing traffic, you can do that. Okay. So in case of security group, we evaluate all rules before deciding whether to allow traffic. Okay. And in case of network ACL, we process rules in number order when we're deciding whether to allow traffic. Okay. So there are a set of rules which we define in security group. So what it will do, it will evaluate all the rules before we decide to allow traffic in case of security group. But in network ACLs, there is a priority which you can define with each rule. Okay. So it will read those rules, with the priority. Okay, suppose you have a number. Okay, so I will show you that. I will create some security rule and will assign some priority. Will do change in priority for some of the rules, and will show you how it behaves differently. Okay, next is about applies to an instance only if someone specify the security group when launching the instance, or associates the security group with the instance later on. Okay, and this applies automatically to all instances in the subnet it is associated with, so you don't have to rely on someone specifying the security group. Okay, so this is the difference, and let's talk about NAT instance and NAT gateway comparison. Availability. So as I was telling you, in case of NAT gateway, so it is always highly available, but NAT instance, you have to have a script to manage your payload. And bandwidth, so it is 10 Gbps in case of NAT gateway, and it depends upon the bandwidth of your instance type. Maintenance, yeah, you don't need to manage your NAT instance. Okay, and in case of NAT gateway, you 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 don't need to maintain your NAT gateway. Okay, next is about performance. So NAT gateway performance is optimized for handling net traffic. So, in case of NAT instance, a generic Amazon Linux AMI that's configured to perform NAT. Okay. Okay. Next is about cost. So, cost is basically charged depending on the number of NAT gateway you use, duration of usage, and amount of data that you send through NAT gateways. Okay, so depend upon the traffic you are sending through NAT gateway, that will calculate your cost in case of NAT gateway. And in case of NAT instance, it is charged depending upon the number of NAT instance that you use, duration of usage, and instance type and size. Type and size, what it is a uniform offering. You don't need to decide on the type of size. Choose a suitable instance type and size according to your predicted workload. Okay, so this is the comparison table between your NAT instance and NAT gateway. So let's talk about, yeah. So this is all about theoretically which we have discussed so far. So now I will go to Amazon console. I will show you all this stuff practically. Okay, please hang on for a second. I'll be back. Yeah, I'm back. So yeah, this is my Amazon console. Okay, so I am in Oregon region. So let's go to VPC. This is the shortcut which I have created. Okay, so if you see here, there is one VPC which is by default, which was created by Amazon, and one internet gateway, three subnets. So in this VPC we have three subnets. Okay, one network ACLs, and one routing table, one security group. So this is what we have currently. Okay, so what I will do, I will go to, you can start using VPC wizard, or you can uh, launch your VPC from here. So I will not go with wizard because that is very simple. So you will not be able to understand what we are doing. So let's go to VPC. Okay. So can you see here? I do have only one VPC. Okay, this is the default VPC of Amazon. Let me show it. If you'll go to EC2, let me open it in other window. And if you launch any instance, okay, so you should be able to see this VPC, right? This is the default VPC, and in this VPC we have how many subnets? Three subnets. Okay, so you have an option to choose no preference. So it will launch your instance in default subnet. Okay, or you can choose any of the subnet. Three availability zone, one subnet per. So they have created, they have given you three subnets. Okay. So what I will do now, I will go to VPC console once again and I will name it as my VPC. So I was talking about this figure, right? So I will create structure like this. Okay. Okay. So this is what I was talking about. So in this, if you see 10.0.0.0/16. So I will launch in the same CIDR. Okay. I will use 10.0.0.0/16. So this is my CIDR for my VPC, and I will go with default option for no IPv6. I'm not going to use IPv6, and tenancy no. If you will use dedicated, then it will cost you more. So I'm not gonna choose you know dedicated one. So let's go with default. Let's create your VPC. Okay. So VPC has been created and it is available now. So you can see the state here. Okay. And if you see, it has created routing table. Okay. So if you go to routing table, it has created one routing table for my VPC. Okay. As soon as you create a VPC, it will create a routing table for you. And routing table in routing table, there is a rule which is to allow the communication between your EC2 instances within the subnets. Okay. So this is the rule. This is the route which is there in your VPC. If you go to subnet association, there is no subnet as of now. Okay. And route propagation. So this is the default setting. Okay. So I was telling you, when you will create one VPC, it will create a route table for you. Okay. Next, you can go into internet gateway. So there is no any internet gateway as of now. Elastic IP address, endpoints, NAT gateway, there is nothing. So if you go to network ACL, so you can see one network ACL which was created by default. Okay. So I have just created one VPC. It has created what? It has created routing table. It has created network ACL. And if you go to security group, yes, there is one security group also. So it has created three things. Okay, routing table, network ACL, and security group. Okay, clear. I have just created one VPC till now. So now let's go to subnet section, and these are the subnets which are by default, okay, in the range 172. So these are Amazon default subnets. Okay. Let's create your subnet. I will say, or what I'll do, I will name it with, you know, availability zone. So I will say US West 2A, and I would say this as my public. Okay. So this is my public. Okay. This is my public subnet, and I will choose my VPC here. Okay, I will define my own IP address range. Let's suppose I'm giving 1.0. Okay, and let's give the IP address range as 24. Okay, so this is my 24 is my mask. So this way I should be getting 255 addresses, right? So if you see here, I was able to get 251 addresses. Okay, so other four IP addresses are being reserved by AWS. Okay. Okay, so this is one subnet which I have just created. Let's go to let's go ahead and create one more subnet. Let's choose US West to be this time, and let's say this is my private subnet. Okay, choose your VPC name here and say n.0.2.0/24. Again, I should be getting 251 address out of this. So what I have done so far, I have created one VPC. Inside this VPC, I have created two subnets. One is public, second is private. Public subnet is in the availability zone 2A, US West 2A, and public private subnet is in the subnet in the availability zone US West 2B. Okay, okay, and both are part of my VPC. And I got 251 addresses out of this. Okay, and these are my NACLS and security groups. So there is one setting here. One is it says no. Okay. For my public subnet, it says auto assign public IP address. So when you will launch one EC2 instance, when okay, if you go here, then if you see here, there is a setting auto assign public IP address. Use subnet setting. So enable. Okay. So what I will do, I will change this setting to yes, so that I don't need to launch one elastic IP address and associate that elastic IP address to my machine. Okay, so that it will assign one public IP address automatically to my EC2 machine. Okay, so what I will do, I will change the setting for my public IP address, public subnet, and will say modify auto assign IP address. We'll say yes here and save it. Okay, so what I did so far, one VPC, two subnets. I have changed the setting for my public subnet so that when I will launch instance in my public subnet, it will get public IP address automatically, and there is no public IP address for my private subnet. Okay, the setting for this is no. I don't want any public IP address for my instance which I will be launching in my private subnet. Okay, so this is what I have done so far, and let's go to routing table. In my routing table, I just have one routing table, that is the default one. Okay, so if you will go to internet gateway, let's create one internet gateway also. Let's say my IG. Okay, this is my internet gateway. So if you see this figure, I have one internet gateway also, right? So I have one internet gateway, private subnet, public subnet. Okay, so I have just created one internet gateway, and the state of this internet gateway is detached. So let's attach this internet gateway to my VPC. Okay, choose your VPC here and say yes, attach. Okay, attached. See this. Okay, it is attached. So you may get some questions in your solution architect certification, or maybe sysops, that your VPC or your network performance is slow. So what you will do? So there may be some options that launch one more internet gateway and attach it to your VPC to increase the network speed. So let's see, can we do that? Can we have one more internet gateway? Let us suppose internet gateway 2, and can we attach two internet gateway to my VPC? Let's see. As of now, it is in detached state. So let's try to attach it. We don't have any option. Okay. So we cannot attach two internet gateway to the same VPC. Okay. This prove that we cannot attach two internet gateway with my VPC. Let's delete this. Okay. So one internet gateway with one VPC. Okay. Let's go to routing table. So what I will do, I will create one more routing table here. I would say my public route. Okay. And again, I will create this route in my default in my VPC. I would say yes, create, and Once it is created, then you should be able to see the subnet association. Subnet association. So you don't have any subnet association. The following subnet has not been explicitly associated with any route table and are therefore associated with the main routing table. So what it says, these both subnets are associated by default with your main routing table. So this was a main routing table. Okay. So currently it is saying that we have zero subnets which are explicitly associated. Okay. But implicitly it has associated my subnets, both subnets, to my default route table. Okay, we need not to explicitly associate these subnets with my VPC routing table. Okay, those are already attached. You can say that, you can read this statement. The following subnets have not been explicitly associated with any routing table and are therefore associated with the main routing table. So those both subnets are already associated with my VPC, but not explicitly. That's the reason it is saying zero here. Okay, implicitly it is associated with my main routing table. So if you will go to your routing table which you have just created, you can explicitly attach one of the subnet, which is let's take a public subnet, and save it. Okay, so now it will show you one subnet which is explicitly associated with your routing table which you have created. Okay. Okay. So why I have created one routing table? So because the main routing table is not being routed to the internet gateway. Okay. So the subnet which is associated with your default routing table will not be able to communicate to the internet, will not be exposed to the internet. Okay, you can see the subnet association once again. So there is no private subnet now, because private subnet I have already associated with my route table, which I'm going to route to the internet gateway. So let's go ahead and add the route for this. I'm taking all the IP address. Okay, and I will be routing all the instances traffic to my internet gateway. Okay. Okay. So now if I will launch any instance within my public subnet, it will be routed to my internet gateway. So I would be getting internet access. Okay. Clear? Okay. So it was a important part of this session. So it should be clear to both all of you, so that we can go further. So let's do one thing. Let's launch a instance in my public subnet. Let's cancel this out. Start launching your instance. I will go with Amazon AMI. I'll go with free tier. I'll launch one instance, and I would say my VPC. And there are two subnets which I can see here. One is public, second is private. So let's launch my instance in public first. And this one we have already talked about it. You use subnet setting, so it will assign one public IP address for me because I have changed the setting in my subnet. Okay, I'm not gonna choose any role or shutdown behavior, so I will take these things by default. Advanced detail, what I can do here, I can write a small bootstrap script to install Apache. Okay, so when it launch this EC2 instance, then it will execute these instructions. Okay, so yum install httpd -1, yum update -1. Okay, chk config httpd on, and I would also say service httpd start. Okay. And I would also say what I'll do, I will create one HTML page for my index.html file. I would say my web slash h1 HTML. So this is the HTML page which I have created, and I will create this HTML in this location var html slash index.html. Okay. So that when this instance is launched, I should be able to open a web page with this content. Okay. Okay. So this is what I have written in my Bootstrap script. Okay. So let's go to the next option, that is for adding the storage. I'm not gonna add any extra storage for now. I will give this name as this one, and I would say public EC2, or you can say my website. Okay. Configure security group. So what you can do, create create a new security group, or you can use some existing security group here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm creating one security group for myself. So I'm gonna open SSH port, HTTP port, HTTP port. Okay. Open HTTPS. So these are the ports which I have opened for my SC group. Okay. Or what I will do, my web SC. Okay. So these are the three ports which I have opened for my instance. Now I will go with review and launch option. I would say yes, and I will choose my existing key pair. Okay, I will say launch instance. Okay, so it is launching my EC2 instance. Meanwhile, we can launch one more instance in my private subnet. Okay, let's quickly launch that as well. Default option. Now I will choose my VPC. I will choose private subnet. I will go with all the default options. Next, I would name it as my DB. Okay, configure security group. So you can create new security group for your DB. Okay, my DBSC. I'm gonna open SSH. I'm gonna open RDP. So depend upon your requirement. So you can open the ports whatever you need. MySQL, if you want to open, then you can open it. Any other port if you want to open. Mm, RDS, okay, or let's leave it because we don't need Oracle RDS here. Okay, I will go with these ports SSH, RDP, and MySQL. So let's review and launch what it says. Yeah, the source need to be CIDR block. So what I have to do, I have to give a CIDR block here. Okay. So also what I will do here, I will choose this as my source CIDR. Okay. I will give access to instances which I will be launching in my public IP. So this is the public subnet CIDR block which I'm going to give in my source IP address range. Okay, so let's leave it because we don't need these protocols as of now. So if you would need, then we can add it later also. Not a big deal. So I'm gonna choose 10.0.1.0 slash 24. This is my public range, public area. Okay, let's review and launch your EC2 instance, and so go to your EC2 section. I think there is some problem. Is there a problem with the EC2 instance? It is in pending state. I don't know why. Monitoring. Yeah, it is running. So both instances are in running state now. Okay. So my web server. Okay, this is the public IP address is auto assigned, and auto assigned setting came from subnet settings. Okay. There is no public IP assigned for this EC2 instance, which I have launched in my private subnet. Okay. So if you will log in into your EC2 machine, or if you just go into the browser, new tab, and just enter this, so you should be able to see your heading page or index.html page. Yeah, it is opening. So what I can do, I can just go into Qt session, okay, and upload your PPK and go into session, give the IP address, log in into this machine. Let me increase the font size, window appearance 14, should be fine, right? Yeah. So what I'll do, I will, you know, I will copy this key. What I'll do, I will copy this key, okay, in my notepad. This is my key, okay, and I will paste it here. I will create a new file here. I would say e.ppem, sorry, okay. I will paste this key here because I would need this key to log in into my private machine, okay, private subnet machine. So what is the IP address of my private machine? It was this, right? So you should be able to connect to this machine from your public subnet machine, okay? EC2 hyphen user at the rate this, and give your public, sorry, private key here, and you should be able to connect. Now, what it says it is too open, okay? So we have to change the permission for this key. Now try to connect again, so you are able to connect to your machine. Okay. So this is your private subnet machine, okay, which don't have any public IP address. Okay, and try to install any package in it. Yum install MySQL. Currently, it should not allow you to install any package because there is no any NAT instance, there is no any NAT gateway. Okay. So I have just created the architecture like this. So my my private subnet is having route table. It is main routing table without it is not having any route which is to internet gateway. Okay? And public subnet route table. If you see this table, and this is the customized table which I have created, and all the instances, all the IP addresses are routed to the internet gateway. So that's the reason I was able to install softwares in my instances in my public subnet, but I was not able to install or do anything from my machine which is there in my private subnet. Okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna launch one NAT instance. Okay, uh, yeah, see, it was not able to download any package or install any package. Okay, so what I will do, I will go into my EC2 console once again. I will go into, yeah, I will launch one more instance that will be my go to community AMI. Will search for NAT. So you can choose the very first one. Okay, so you can say continue micro instance, so free tier, so I will go with the free tier only. So I'm gonna choose this VPC, and I will launch this NAT instance in my public subnet. Okay, let's go with default setting. Let's name this instance as your NAT instance. NAT instance. Okay, security group. So do you want to add any more security group for this, or you can launch it within the same? I would say let's launch this instance within the same security group which I use for my web. Okay, so let's launch it. Okay, launch. Okay, let's go to EC2 console and see the progress. Okay, so it is being launching now. So meanwhile, I can just go into VPC management console and go to the routing table and go to your main routing table. And in this main routing table, what you can do, you can add a route, add a route here, and you can say 0.0.0/0 all the instances in my private subnet, and let's choose the net instance. So it is still being launched, so that's the reason it is not showing. Yeah, it has been launched. So this is the route which I have added. Okay, so it is in running state now. So let's try to connect or try to install anything in your machine now. It's not working. Okay, so it is still not working. So what is the reason? Reason behind that is, if you will go into your NAT instance, so there is an option which you always need to remember. What is that? It is instant. You will go into instance setting, and there is a option called source destination check. Okay, what is that? Yeah, you will go into networking section, and if you will go into change source destination check, it is currently enabled. So it should be enabled, disabled. Okay, so what does that mean? So it will, currently it is enabled. So if I will disable it, then it will not check your source, or it will not check your destination. It will just redirect the traffic to your internet gateway. Whatever it is getting, it will direct the traffic to internet gateway. Okay, yes, disable it. Okay, now go to your PC2 once again and try to install your package. Wow, it is working now. Yeah, I was able to install it. Can you see? It is working for me now, right? So again, this is very important question, and you can expect this as a question in your certification exam. Okay, source destination check, it should be always disabled. Okay, so this is all about NAT instance and all. So let's remove this package, remove your MySQL package. I'm not gonna use this, suppose, and you can go into your Amazon console once again, and what you can do, you can just go ahead and terminate this one. Okay, now I will replace my NAT instance with my NAT gateway. So let's terminate this NAT instance for now. Okay, and go to your VPC and launch a NAT gateway. Okay, create a NAT gateway. So here you can choose the subnet. Okay, so I will be launching my NAT gateway in my public subnet. Okay, in my public subnet. This is my public subnet, and elastic IP address location. So you have to have one elastic IP address. So you can just create a new elastic IP address and assign it. Create a NAT gateway. So what it will do, it will create a NAT gateway. So this is a NAT gateway ID. Okay. So you can just view NAT gateways. You should be able to see the NAT gateway here. Just refresh it. Yeah, it is there. So it is in pending state. It may take some more time to launch. Once it is launched, then what you will do, you will go into your routing table once again. Go into the main routing table. Okay, and see the route. So that was a route which you had added for your NAT instance, and now it is you know showing the state as black hole. Why? Because in NAT instance we have already terminated the NAT instance, right? So it is in terminated state. So that's the reason it is in black hole. So what you will do, you will just edit your routing table. Okay, and here you will say NAT. Okay, so this is a NAT gateway. So you can match the NAT gateway ID that is ending with D3C. Okay, So before that, you can just save it and go to your NAT gateway. So D3C. So is it, yeah, D3C, but it is still in pending state. Okay. So as I told you earlier, it will take some time to launch. Okay. Once it is launched, then you can go to your EC2 console, EC2 session once again, and install the package. It is working. Okay. It is working fine. Okay. So it might have launched already. Yeah, it is available now. Okay. So I'm able to install the package. What it says. Yeah, I was able to install the package. Can you see? Okay. Let's remove it once again. Let's verify if it was installed or not. It was installed. Remove it. Okay. Install it once again. Go cross check. That is working. You got it right. So till now we have explored VPC, subnets, routing tables. We have added some, routing table of our choice. We have launched one internet gateway. Okay, so we played out with elastic IP address, which we have associated with my internet gateway, NAT gateway. Sorry. Okay, I haven't created any peerings connection as of now. So this is the network ACLs, which I was talking about. Security group, you should be aware of security group already. So I will not go into more detail about security group. I will discuss about NACLS now. So if you see, uh, this is my VPC, okay, associated with two subnets. So this is the NACLS, okay. This is my NACL currently. So if you go to inbound rules, I can see these are the rules currently which are added, okay. And this is my outbound rule, okay. And you can see here, right? I can add allow rule, I can add deny rule. So what I will do now, I will add some more rules in my inbound section. Okay. So before that, what you can do, you can create your own NACL. Okay. So I will create my own NACL. Okay. So this is my NACL which I have just created, and I will do what? I will associate subnet to this NACL. I will associate public subnet to this NACL. Okay. So I'm gonna do what? I will add some inbound or outbound rules for my public subnet. Okay. Can you see the change here? Earlier it was showing two subnet here, right? Now when I have created one NACL, or you can say network access control list, okay. So and associated one subnet with it. So it was dropped to one subnet, because as I told you, one NACL corresponds to one subnet, and one subnet corresponds to one availability zone. Okay, so we cannot associate one NACL with two, uh, you know one NACL with two availability zone, or you can say two availability zone. Okay, so NACLs can never span across the availability zone. Okay, so this is an NACL which I have just created, and I have associated one subnet with this. Now I can add some rules. Okay, let's add some rules in it. Let's go with, this is the priority which I was discussing in my slide. Okay, so let's suppose SSH2 port I'm gonna open, and source I would be giving 0.0 for all the IPs. Okay, and it should be allowed. Okay, and let's add one more rule, 10 or you can say 200, and let's suppose RDP again. I would say this, okay, and add some more rules. Let us suppose 300, and I would say HTTP, STTP, and source would be again all the IP addresses. I would add one more rule. Let's say HTTPS, HTTPS. Okay, source would be again 0.0.0, and these are the rules which I have just added. And there are some ephemeral ports also. Okay, so if you search for ephemeral ports in AWS, so you should be able to get a list of ephemeral range which you should always add. Okay, there is a range ephemeral. Yeah. So this is a range which you must have added. Okay, so let's add that range also. I would say 500. Custom. This is my custom TCP rule. Okay. Okay. So I would say this is my port range, and my source IP address would be all IPs throughout the world. Okay. Custom TCP rule. All. Yeah. Okay. So these are the rules which I have just added. Okay. I will go ahead and save it. And as I told you earlier, the rules which you are going to add for incoming should be added for outgoing if you need, depend upon your requirement. By default, it is denied. Okay. By default, all traffic is denied for outgoing. Okay, and it will read the rules starting from this. Okay, so first it will allow SSH for all the traffic, then RDP, then HTTP, then HTTPS. So like this. Okay. Okay. So these are the rules which I have just added. So if you will go into your web page once again and refresh it, you should be able to see your web page. Or it should be, let's add outgoing rules also. I would add all these rules in my outgoing also. 100, 200, 400. Okay. So this is your customized TCP rule. Okay. And what was the range? This is my destination, and this is for my SSH. This is for my, no, what was it? RDP. This is for my HTTP. This is for my HTTPS, and this is my customized. Okay. Anything which we are still forgetting? Nothing. So it's in my ephemeral range. Okay. So let's save this and refresh your page once again. So you should be able to see your page again. It is back. Okay. And you can see the PuTTY session. Now you should be able to log in. Okay. Everything is working fine. So if you take a duplicate session, okay, it is working. It is all working for you. Okay. This is my public subnet. This is all working fine. So if you will edit your NACL rule, let's add one more rule here saying 99 or 1012 or 1. Okay. So if I will say I will block this from, I will say deny. I will say deny, and I will let's get your machine IP address first. Machine public IP. What is my IP address? So this is my IP address. Okay, let's deny SSH connection from my machine. Okay, from my machine. So this is the IP address I have given. I'm denying SSH. So let's choose SSH here. I'm denying SSH traffic for incoming, that is inbound rule, to my machine. Okay, let's save this rule and see. Try to take a duplicate session once again, or what you can do, you can just go into your EC2 console, your web server. This is your IP address. Okay, let's try to connect this machine. It's still alive. Yeah, it is still allowing. So there is still something with the rule. Why it is still allowing? See, as I told you, it will read the rules from top to bottom. Okay, from top to bottom. So initially I have enabled all the rules. I have enabled SSH for all the machines throughout the world. Okay, then I am denying, so it will not work like this. Okay, what I have to do, I have to change the sequence basically. So what I will do, I will edit 101 with 99. So now what it will do, it will deny my IP address from SSH for that machine, or you can say for that subnet, entire subnet, and then it will allow SSH for all the IPs. Okay, that way it will work. Okay, now let's copy your IP address once again and try to connect it, and choose your key and say open. Is it working? Still working? And there is still something with the rules. So either the IP address which I have given is not correct. The IP address is 103, or yeah, it is 103.68.29.42. 68.29.42, and I'm denying all SSH ports. Okay, and this is for my subnet. Which what is the subnet? Subnet is my public subnet. So inbound rule denying the traffic. So SSH. It should be working. Mhm. Let's do one more change. Okay, so let's try to change it to you know, 32. It is always denying. Okay, I will deny for I will deny it for others also. Okay, I will deny it for others also. And then if you try to connect your machine, it is not allowing. Okay, this time it is not allowing. I could not connect to your machine now. So this way it is working, but if I will allow your machine, yeah, it is not working. So let's edit your rules once again. I would say I would say allow for this, and let's suppose I'm giving 101 here. Save it. Yeah. So I'm denying SSH from my machine. Okay. Try to connect it once again. It is working. So there is still something with the IP, it seems. Okay. So if I will disconnect from my VPN connection or maybe Wi-Fi and will try to connect it once again, then that way it will not work. Okay. So Intention was to give the rules in a proper sequence. Okay. Initially, we should allow the traffic, or we can deny the traffic, and then later we can say deny rules. Okay. So because it will read the rules in sequence from top to bottom. Okay. So there is something. Yeah. Let's do one thing. Let's change it to 19.9. Okay. And remove this 32 from here. Save your rule once again. It says it should be in. Okay. Okay. Mhm. I think I'm not getting the correct IP address. What is my IP address? See, this time it is different. 103, 193, 196, 14. So that's the reason it is not working for me. Okay. So if you do like this and save it, okay, and now if you will try to connect, it is still working for me. So it is something with with my machine, or maybe my network. I'm getting different IP address every time. Okay. So what I will do, I will deny. I will keep a deny rule. I will again tweet my deny rule and would say HTTP. Okay. For HTTP 80. Okay. For from this machine, let's deny it. Okay. This way, I should not be able to open this page. Yeah, it is still working. So there is something with my IP address, as I told you. So ideally, what you should do if you wanted to, uh, you know, uh, deny for some IP address, you can put it before you put some other rule which is for allow. So you can put rules like this. Okay. So this is the thing which you need to keep in your mind. Okay. So that's it for today, and hopefully you are now aware of VPC subnets routing table. It has this session has cleared your most of your doubts. So I will come up once again with some more sessions maybe on AWS. Thank you. Thanks all for watching.